Hi, welcome to the Parent Education Support Hub. My name's Laura and I'm a HLTA, and I plan to share some reading and phonics tips with you to help support your children with phonics and learning at home. Obviously at the moment we are all teaching our children from the comfort of our own home, something that's a little bit foreign to all of us, even me as a HLTA. I have three children, two of them are at secondary school age. One of them was supposed to be taking her GCSEs this year, so she's a little bit upset at the moment that that's not happening. And I've got a son who is 12, who's just started secondary school. So although my expertise lies within primary school, I am finding it very difficult at the moment to remember all of those things that I learned when I was at secondary school. And one of the reasons that all of us find it quite difficult to teach our children at the moment is that things have changed quite considerably since we were at school. And I think my children are pretty quick to point that out to me, so I'm wondering if yours are too. So the idea of this group is to share some tips, some advice, some ideas on different things that you can do as a parent to help support your children's learning at home. And that's within the current climate, but all of the time as well. You know, when children do eventually go back to school, hopefully it will arm you with some ideas and ways that you can help your children and just make you feel like you're doing more perhaps. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to take more time. Hopefully some of these videos and ideas will give you quick fire methods of things that you can do in a day that don't need too much preparation, things that you have to hand, sometimes just you and a book, you know, your child and a book, nothing too complicated. So that's the plan. A little bit about myself. So I'm a HLTA. I worked in a primary school for around 6 years. I started as a parent volunteer and luckily was offered a job by the primary school. So I worked in reception. I started off in reception, and I eventually, by the time I finished up to leave to have my baby, I'd worked in every single year group all the way up to year 6. And my main speciality is phonics. I was a phonics tutor. I used to teach phonics lessons every single day. And reading on a one-to-one basis and as whole groups. So my plan is to share some videos and some hints and tips with you, things that I've picked up along the way to help you support your child with reading at home. So we all know what it's like to be given that reading record and the school book and be told, right, you know, go away, read with your child and write something in that column for that book. And, you know, it starts off kind of easy. You think, great, right, you know, we'll write how much we've read and we'll write down that they've done really well today. And then you start to think, okay, so what else can I do? What could I be doing to support my child with their reading? And from working within the school for a long time, you do start to pick up lots of different things along the way that can easily be done at home, and the benefits that your child will receive from that are enormous. Reading is so important. It is a life skill that will help your child to learn forever. You know, not just as children, as adults, we use reading as our tool for learning new information. So what's going on in the world, or if we want to pick up a new skill or get a new job, or, you know, social media. It's the way we communicate these days, you know, and all of that would be so difficult if you don't find reading that easy. You know, you may be able to read, but I'm not so confident. So the skills that we're going to look into aren't just going to be about being that solid reader, although that is part of it, but it's also going to be about that confidence in reading and the world that being able to read confidently and really well is going to open up for your child, or for anyone really. You know, it doesn't have to be for a child, but we're going to look at reading from that early age and that introduction of books from a baby all the way up through your school life. And, you know, even when your children are in secondary school, it's hints and tips on using reading for revision, for example. You know, how can you get the best and take the most information from what you are actually reading. So we're going to look into lots of different things, lots of different small videos, but we're going to keep it coming even when, the children do go back to school. Hopefully we'll be able to share some invaluable advice with you. Don't want to get political, but in 2015 the government released an article talking about the importance of children leaving primary school being able to read, because of the disadvantage that they are put at if they start secondary school without this basic skill. And we all might think, oh, of course, that's why they go to primary school, to read. But unfortunately, primary schools now are expected to squeeze in so much. It's not just their education, their general education now. They're expected to teach things like e-safety, and they're responsible for and healthy eating and so many of these other areas of children's well-being, that the school timetable is just squeezed that those basics, those reading skills and those basic math skills, all teachers want to do is tool up their kids and arm them to go on to secondary school. And yet sometimes that isn't always the focus. It's not always what they're allowed to give their maximum amount of time on. That's not to say that your teachers aren't reading with your children. They are doing their absolute best. They'll have to fit in guided reading, for example, every day, and SPAG lessons every single day, which is great. Your kids need all of these tools, but to strip it back down to basics and to spend that time sharing a book with children and listening to those children read, I can guarantee you that teachers would love to do a lot more of that than they get the chance to in the day. So that's where we can pick up. We can pick up from where the teachers leave off as parents, and we can sit down and go, okay, so it's not just listening to my child read every day, it's about sharing a story and sharing those ideas. And I hope that these videos are helpful to you. So thanks very much for joining our group. We hope you find it useful. Thank you very much.